Now that we walked through one, I would really like you to try to do this next one on your own. All right, come back and hit play when you've attempted it, hopefully. Obviously, I can't make you, this is a review, but I would really, really encourage you to try it on your own. It's a very similar procedure. Here we have bids in thousands of dollars. That's an important thing to note because as we say our finals, we're not going to say, oh, their fair share is $10 because it's not. It's maybe 10,000, whatever that may be. I'm building onto the chart here. I wasn't able to do that on the last, but here I can add my total and then fair shares right to the chart below. So for Abby, the total are these numbers added together. That's going to be 24, 6 plus 8 plus 3 plus 7. And then what do we divide that by to find their fair share? It's not divided by 3 in this example. There are 4 players, Abby, Ben, Carla, and Dan, so we have to divide that by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So Abby's fair share is 6,000. All right, same for Ben. Add down, and it's 27. His fair share is 6.75. For Carla, we add the values together. That's 29. Her fair share is 7.25. For Dan, we add the values together. That's 31. And his fair share is 7.75. Remember, this is 6,000, 6.75 thousand, 7.25 thousand, 7.75 thousand. I'll write those out in like their cash values here as we go into the initial allocation. All right, for the initial allocation, for Abby, she is owed $6,000. That's her fair share. Let's go through and see who gets what item. For the motorcycle, Carla's going to get that. For the car, Ben is getting that. For the tractor, Carla is also getting the tractor. And for the boat, Abby gets, can I see? No, I can't see. Dan gets the boat, right? 7 is smaller than 8. I did not see that 8 there. All right, so Abby doesn't get any of the items. Abby is just going to get her fair share in cash. So Abby gets $6,000 in cash. No items, just cash. Ben gets the car that is worth 13,000, which is more than his fair share. He has to pay the difference there. All right, he gets a car worth 13,000. Let's write that as the 13 real quick. And must pay the difference. The difference is going to be that 13 minus his fair share of 6.75, which is going to be 13,000. I see in my notes, it looks like I might have put the wrong one. Oh no, I'm just looking at the wrong line. I was like, I need to type this out, I guess, because I didn't do it. No, we're good. That is going to be 6.25. So he has to pay, I'm going to mark it in red because he's paying it, 6,250. That's how much he has to pay. So he gets the car, but he has to pay that amount. Carla is going to get the motorcycle, which is worth 11, and the tractor, which is worth 5,000. So total, she's gotten 16,000 worth of goods, the 11,000 plus the 5,000, which is far more than her $7,250 fair share. 7.25 thousand is $7,250. All right, so she has too much. 16,000 worth of stuff she has to pay. The difference. Let's talk about the difference. 16,000 minus her fair share of 7.25. That difference is going to be 8,750. And finally, we have Dan running a little bit out of room, but I can make it fit. Dan gets the boat worth 8,000, which is too much. It's not that much over, but it is still too much. So he has to pay that difference and pays. What is that difference? 8,000 minus 7,750. That's just a quarter of $1,250. All right, 0.25 or $250. So we have the items. We have the first player receives cash, everyone else pays cash. This is the initial allocation. What we have laid out right here is the initial allocation. Now we move on to the estate. Remember, the estate, we're focusing on what's going in, what's coming out, and then looking at what's left on the table. Going in, we have 6,250, we have 8,750, and we have $250. The amount going in is $15,250, adding those three values together. Going out, we just have the amount being paid to Abby. That's $6,000. So that's getting subtracted from that amount to see what the overall leftover is. And that leftover is going to be $9,250. So we had the values going onto the table, we had the value paying off of the table, and this is what's still on the table at the end of the day. So what do we do with this amount? We split it evenly between the 4 players. Remember, there's 4 players on this one. The last example we had done only had 3 players. So we're dividing this by 4 equal parts. Divided by 4, that's going to be $2,312.50. Each player gets this extra amount, either awarded more or less that they have to pay. So for that final allocation, we have to take the initial and then factor in this extra money that's being awarded to each person. For Abby, it was $6,000 in cash. So she's going to add this on top of that. We have 6,000 plus $2,312.50. She gets $8,312.50 in cash. She gets that money in cash. Ben gets the car, and he had to pay 6,000 something to begin with, and he's only getting 2,000 something back. So he's still going to have to pay. All right, we're not moving into the plus side or anything like that. He still has to pay the money, but he has to pay less than 6,000. We have to find that difference, the subtraction, to see how much he actually has to pay. So let's mark it over here. Originally, it was 6,250. But he's getting back $2,312.50 of that. So he has to pay that difference, which is $3,937.50. We'll underline it in red to emphasize that he's still paying that amount. For Carla, she got the motorcycle and tractor. And originally she had to pay 8,000 something dollars. She's getting 2,000 something back. She's still going to have to pay as well. She's still going to be in the red on this. All right, how much in the red is she going to be? Let's check it out. Originally it was 8,750 she had to pay. Now she's getting back $2,312.50 of that. We subtract them. So she is going to pay $6,437.50. And then finally, we have Dan. Dan got the boat and originally had to pay $250. So he had to pay $250, but now he's getting $2,312. He is going to move into the green. He does not have to pay $250. He is getting awarded the difference. All right, it is a subtraction to see how much he's getting awarded, because if you think about a number line, he started, if here's 0, he started at paying 250, but now we're adding the $2,312.50. So this part is getting taken away from that 2,000, but we're still going to end up on the positive side of a number line. All right, so how much is he receiving and gets a certain amount in cash? How much of that amount is the difference between the $2,312.50 minus the $250 that he originally owed? All right, it's a subtraction still. So he gets $2,062.50 in cash. He receives that. So he's the only one that didn't still owe at the end. He instead got moved into the positive. He's receiving cash instead of owing it.